Hi, everyone. Suzanne Barnhurst here to review those of you who are in Group Nike, which includes Christopher, Emily, Michael Marrero, and Robert Phillips. Emily Fry, that is, since we had two Michaels and two Emilys in this class. So let me just start by saying you did an excellent presentation. It was very professional. You included many of the aspects of holistic marketing that Nike follows. In addition to some of your outside research and some of the additional things that you added, you did a very, very good job of describing Nike and its following of holistic marketing. I'm going to share the screen here and sort of go through your presentation a little bit and make a few comments about it. Let me mention too that your narration was very professional. I actually wrote down here it was excellent narration. It was very academic and professional. It wasn't too flowery, or you used the course concepts very, very well. You did a great job. So the first thing that you stepped off into was internal marketing, and you provided me with a background of, let's see, this is the background of Nike. You provided me with a background of this team acronym and knowing who's on your team and what has Nike done with that. I mentioned a couple of things here. You talk about employees needing to trust the company, the enthusiasm, and they'll be enthusiastic if they're treated well, and their message that are all employees equipped with key terms and phrases to spread brand awareness. Well, I didn't see it in your presentation, but Nike's mantra, which is their internal message to employees, is athletic, authentic performance, which tells employees exactly what it is that they're there for. They're to develop authentic athletic performance, and if anything comes along the way that has nothing to do with that, then it's not part of their core competency. So Nike has done a really good job of keeping their focus there. And as you mentioned later here, that they don't focus on just professionals or even the weekend warriors, semi-professional people. They focus on bringing innovation and inspiration to every athlete, as you mentioned. So you did a nice job listing this. You talked about, I think this was Emily that did the 4 steps, the second step being coordinating your plays. And you also carefully discussed some of Nike's failures in this area. I think it's, as you mentioned here, they have faced challenges in the past and they have to step up and focus on corporate social responsibility, but I think it has a lot to do with more with the governance of the organization and some of the issues that they've had in the past, although they have managed, I think, to get through them in some ways. And every company has those issues, and good for Nike that they soldiered through it and are still as successful as they are. And then the last step here, then we're already on integrated marketing. Okay, so you have here inclusivity, everyone's an athlete. They also face the challenges of corporate social responsibility and respect for the importance of internal marketing, because as you said, in the past, they didn't always do that. So you did a really good job with focusing here on what they do. Under integrated marketing, you talked about creating, communicating, and delivering value. And I thought this was a very good way to talk about integrated marketing. And you focus on many of the things that they do to, as you say, bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Under creating value, you pointed out they position themselves as an innovative sportswear company, and that to Nike, anyone with a body is an athlete. And it is a consistent message that they use, and all of us have heard in the past. Then you talked about communicating the value of Nike's brand and how they do that. As you mentioned, they do an excellent job of making an emotional connection with us as consumers. Everybody from Michael Jordan, people on that level, to people on the same level as you and I who are maybe work out on a regular basis. we don't see ourselves as athletes, but we still work out. So we need the correct apparel to do so. They use people like the local track stars who just won a big national championship, and they'll communicate that value through them so that they are definitely continuing to talk about all of us as an athlete. So they connect with us very well on an emotional level and with inspirational stories. Let me see what else you said here so I don't miss anything. Okay, no, I think I have it all except for this. You talked about how they deliver value. They were the first ones to launch this line for Muslim women so that they could compete in the sports, which was a really big deal. And I'm surprised no one had come up with it before that. But anyway, Nike stepped up to the plate and has done that too. So they deliver on their value, not only here, but in all of their apparel. He did a good job with that integrated marketing. Then when we talk about relationship marketing, same thing. Did a nice job of pointing out the key constituents who needs to be, including customer needs and preferences, and then other partner relationships, the distributors and those people. You talked about how the customer experience has relatable advertisements, which is what you mentioned earlier, and integrated. Personalized and interactive in-store consultations and Nike platform is a two-way conversation with customers, and I completely agree. They design sneakers around what some children have asked for, sent letters and asked for. Oh, I think there was a little girl basketball player that wrote to them and said, why don't you make the same shoes for the girls that you make for the boys? And so they did. And of course she got shoes and they made a big deal out of it. But at least they are responsive to any kind of market changes and market requests. You talk here about the supplier engagement, the sponsorships that they do, and the strategic partnerships with some of these organizations. So you pointed out some key holistic principles that Nike practices in these areas. Performance marketing was excellent. You talked about traditional and intangible measures that Nike practices, transform traditional into holistic, and changing the customer experience so that it is no longer just a vanilla customer experience, but it's something different. And you even mentioned the Net Promoter Score, which is measure satisfaction and repeat business. And you mentioned that even though Nike lags here, they still have the largest market share globally. So in some areas, they may not look as though they're doing that well, but they are, because of their strategies and their principles. And then, of course, lastly, you talked about the intangible performance components, and they include some issues that they've had in the past. You have here questionable chemicals and fair labor, but I think they've changed that and done a better job with that. You talked about social citizenship and the environmental stewardship that they need to continue. When you think about Nike, that it started as a sneaker company where two guys developed a waffle sneaker, which was called the Waffle Runner, in their garage using their wife's waffle iron, it's pretty amazing how far they've come. And you did a very good job here of identifying the holistic strategies for each of these dimensions. And it was very professional. So great job, everybody. Thanks so much for narrating the project. The two groups that narrated the project this semester, the projects turned out much more powerful than those that didn't narrate. I gave you the choice, so that was fine, but I'm very pleased that you did narrate, you took the time to do that, and you put the effort into it. So again, thank you very much. Great job.